Thank you for coming back with me today. And we're going to do a full garden tour. Um, we're also going to figure out what's eating my collards. So let me just put my coffee down. So we have my coffee and I have my gloves. Let's start this tour. Okay, and you've all seen this before. I have my spice bed here with some oregano that has grown out beautifully. So my bunch and onions have recovered from the last cutting. My Swiss chard. It is time to harvest again. I am getting a little insect pressure. So the morning temperatures can be in the 40s, and in the afternoons, around high noon, I can get up in the high 80s, which is unseasonably warm. So some of my leafy greens are having a hard time. I'm actually 10 days from my historical first frost. And for my last video, I did do some cleanup. So I've cleaned out my ornamentals. This is my hostas. I did leave enough so that my friendly frogs can get around and have some cover. I prepared my mini greenhouse for the first frost that could hit at any time. And so I have my container plants in this shelter. So they're getting full airflow, but I can close it down and protect them. And I will do a video on how I use this plastic greenhouse and can carry things like a rosemary, keep it outdoors over winter. So I do have a mini greenhouse, but I also protect the pot itself, because the important thing with your perennial herbs is to protect that root ball, and we'll talk about that in my next video. Now an actual look inside of my mini greenhouse. So you can see that I have some red oak leaf lettuce growing in. I do have my squirrel deterrents, but you really can't keep the squirrels out. I have some salad bowl lettuce here. I do have some very small black seeded Simpson, and this is the very slow growing lettuce. I do have it on the most shady side of this greenhouse, hoping just to, so it doesn't bolt and it has a better chance, but it's quite slow growing. On this other side down here is I have some butter crunch right down there. It's doing well. I also have arugula in that pocket there, and it's not doing much at all. You can see that. My rosemary is quite happy, and it can actually be trimmed some more. I can trim this down even further, take it in for harvest so that I can fill my containers. More bunch of onions, and I had actually a couple of weeks ago cut this back, and it's fully regrown. My chives also have grown back in real nicely and can be cut down. I can really do a hard cut on this now because first frost is approaching. So the active growing will come to an end soon. My thyme here, the lemon thyme, and my English thyme, they have grown back up and they are ready to be harvested again before the first frost. So I'll be able to have all of my spices um, in the house ready for use. I do have an additional Swiss chard here that I am going to just kind of keep it in the container over winter to see how long it'll go. And you may not know, but Swiss chard is hardy down to 20 to 25 degrees Fahrenheit. My sage has grown back really, really nicely from being harvested, so I will harvest some more. So we are going to slowly swing around This is where I had my peppers and basils. Those are true summer crops, so it has been cleared. I am just waiting to collect enough leaves from my trees to put a leaf mulch on the open bed. So we're gonna swing around real slow so as to not make you dizzy. Okay. Now I did remove some of my black-eyed Susans and I have put it here in this container so that I have some color in this corner for next year. So actually the fall is the perfect time to move perennials. It gives it just enough time for the roots to get established. The roots will continue to establish themselves through the winter in the warm soil so that spring it'll come around, will flush out its new leaves and will flower. So most perennials can be relocated or planted in the fall. I've kept some ornamentals up and growing for my bees and butterflies, and also for safe haven for the frogs. They are still jumping around. They're just as confused as I am about the weather, having cool temperatures at night and summer temperatures during the day. Here's my rose bush, and what I've done so far is you actually don't prune your roses until winter or early spring before they start to wake up. But I did take out all of the old canes and any crossing canes. And I will actually do the true trimming of the rose bushes when winter hits. No care was required for this uh, hydrangea macrophylla. Here's an area I have cleaned out here. So all of the fern, the leaf matter from the ferns have been pulled out so as not to harbor any bacteria or viruses over the summer. From the summer, I did thin out a couple of my hostas. It looks terrible now, but by spring they will look beautiful. So I thinned out the hosta here. I did pull off most of the leaves, and it's just a portion of the parent plant. I did leave as a marker so I won't forget that I moved them. I did leave the flower shoots on, but this is temporary just so that in the next couple of weeks that I'll know that I've planted that here. Pretty much all of my ornamentals, this was once my hydrangea Annabelle. So all of my ornamentals have been cleared out. It is still too warm to address the strawberries here and the strawberries here. Um, so as you can see, my leaf tower is doing quite well and it's undercover. I did do a feeding with worm casting, waited a week and did another feeding with a liquid fertilizer. Okay, and my mustard greens are doing pretty well. My spinach totally failed. Something is actually eating the spinach. So what I've done is thinned out my mustards so that they can have more room to grow. But the mustard greens are doing a great job. My carrots. The squirrels are in this planter nonstop. I just cannot keep them out. So I have planted so many carrot seeds in here, but it's not working out. I did relocate one of my kale plants. Kale here is even starting to show some damage. Now that we've taken a short little tour around my October garden, and it's not as lush as it was during the summer. I am in zone 5, 5B, 6A, and so, our growing season is coming to an end. Things that will grow well at this time are our leafy green vegetables. So now I want to try to figure out what's eating my collards. So hopefully we can figure it out. So I don't think it's caterpillars. Oh, it is. And you see that there? Perfectly camouflaged. Right here, right by my thumb. There you go. That's what's eating it. So we are simply going to smush him. I hope that you can see this. Let me see if I can get you zoomed in. You see they having a caterpillar party right there. Look at that. Caterpillar party. So we are just going to take care of my friends here. I have removed 6 caterpillars. I'm finding that they are actually on the stems, on the front of the leaves in the stems, which is a place I don't normally look. So I'm just being really careful now. Hopefully I've done enough to remove some of the pest pressure. I will cover this up, make sure everything is secure, give these a fertilizer boost to help them to push on new leaves. And once again, thank you so much for coming back to the channel. Anytime you like or subscribe, it lets YouTube know that you enjoy what you're seeing or you have learned something today. So if you learned anything, please push that like button. Have an amazing day.